Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Boys in the Vortex Star. Look, we're back. It's Friday and it's Traveller. It's been 3 weeks since we Traveller on a Friday, and it's a joy to be back. If you look to the right hand side here, you may notice, hello, it's slightly different. I'm the size that I should be, and there's little bars between us to sort of hide bits of framework because we are now using Roll20 as Teams has let us down once too many times and has made an enemy of us for all time. So we're here. We're back though after a bit of a stressful week last week, and we are looking forward to travelling with you, our dear viewers. If it is your first time, you're so welcome to join us. Please hang out for as long as you want. We're doing about 2 hours this evening. It's my fault. I started a new job and I'm knackered because I'm not used to actually getting up and doing work. So blame me if it's going well and we have to pause suddenly. Um, but yeah, so we're going to play about that much. I'm guessing we'll go for a little break, a mini break in the middle, Ben, are we?
We'll aim for something, yeah. Yeah, I'll see if I can find a suitable break in the action. I
Perfect. So
say action, but it is us.
a suitable break in brunch. Um, so your investment in time is not huge. A couple of hours, with a break. Um, if you're one of our regulars or you've been here before, you are very, very welcome. Kels is in the house. Crit's here. Croy is here as well. It's a joy. All the Ks are here tonight, and it's an absolute delight to have them with us. If it is your first time or whatever, please feel free to chat if you want. They're friendly folk, honestly. They don't bite, and we will chat too if we're not busy in stream, or you can lurk. We love our lurkers too. There's a little red sun there you can click to spend some points. There's a whole range of things. Anything that's sort of that pinky colour brings a beautiful tune, such as us standing for Ewan. There it is. Which also brings. Oh, it's still the reindeer. I need to change it back to the Easter. It's the wrong time of year, but you get the idea. There's other things that will change. There's things such as Clonk, which makes a character in game have to hit out at something. You can name an NPC. You can give us a boon, which is always appreciated. And Kels is always wonderful for that. The number of boons we've got out Kels out of the years is spectacular. So have a flick through, see what you like the look of. Stefan Sneaky Masterclass means Stefan needs to steal something. For example, par exemple, I'm going foreign tonight. There is one thing we keep special, which is one credit only, which is I'll drink to that. So if there's ever a point where you want to agree with something or where raising a glass feels like the right thing to do, is one credit. It'll always be one credit because we want to make sure that you guys can do something. Oh, Yana's been claimed. There she is. Um, so that is all of that. I suppose I better introduce us and then pass over to Ben, of course. My name is Luke. Hello. I'm bigger than I was the last few months. I'm taking up my third, and it's a joy to be with you. I play two characters in this wonderful tale. I play Kara and Soraya. Kara is our she's in IT, but she's also an artiste, and she's also talks and carouses and chats and deals, and pretends that she's working for youth television at the minute. Soraya's rotting in jail after being let down by her long-term friends, but she is the Han Solo of the crew, quite frankly, and she deserves much better than she's getting. One above me, there he is, the bar that keeps us apart. He is my brother from another mother, the smartest man in the middle of the room, the Floofmeister General. He is the housewife's favourite, the delightful Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hey, Luke. I'm very good, thanks. I'm very good. I'm excited to be back for some Traveller. It's been a long break, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
It has. How are Stefan's arms holding up? He's been down that cliff face for quite a while.
Yeah, all right, I think. And he was, I mean, he wasn't hanging on with much conviction, I don't feel, but here we are. I'm assuming he's still there. We may be rolling up a new character as soon as we start because Ben feels as though 3 weeks hanging on the edge of a cliff is far too much for any human rogue in space. That is Stefan Miller, who is a sneaky character. I tried to segue. It didn't really work. But I do also play Agnar Arnson, who is a Varga, former military general, military tactician. The socialite question mark of the group. He's got the highest social. He'll represent them when it's not so much about getting on with your everyday folk, I suppose. He doesn't tend to throw his name around, but every now and then Luke puts me in a situation where he has to say, "Don't you know who I am?"
Don't you know who I am? Classic Agnaring. Where there's a fine glass of whiskey and a 7-course meal with high-ranking officials, that's where you find our boy.
Or a game of Isixis, as it turns out.
Or saving the life of our hated enemy.
That was more through my guilt, I think.
Speaking of guilt, let me introduce you to the man who feels he has to do right by us tonight after bringing misery and pain to us over the last few months. He is the smartest man in any room. He lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence. He sneaks into women's houses every night, dropping off boxes of chocolates on their bedside tables. He's your friend and mine. He is, of course.
And all because the lady loves milk tray. And all because the lady loves milk tray.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the double milk tray. 2 layers, of course. It's Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Apparently busier than usual delivering chocolates. Well, that's very kind of you, Kelly. Thank you. I mean,
and entirely not true.
Kind.
How you been anyway? Been good?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Struggling on, but at least I can now see the pitch black dark at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, that's true. That feels like a step in the right direction.
It does, doesn't it? Yes, definitely progress. Yes, very nice to be playing Traveller again. Very nice to be playing anything again. Actually, it's a treat to be back on a Friday evening with my friends playing a game. So with that in mind, let's do a quick catch up as to where we are.
Oh.
So, our travellers have been spending some time on Osin, and it's all been just splendid. Our 4 main heroes have all decided to split from each other for the moment in a piece of tactical brilliance that can only end brilliantly. Agnar is waiting for the opportunity to go and watch some ocean racing with Olivia Sharp, a friend and ally. On a slightly less relaxing note, Soraya is currently being detained on suspicion of involvement in some very serious crimes. Investigator Locke has been quite unrelenting in her investigations. Now, if we really want to talk about things that are less relaxing, perhaps it's time to turn our attention to Stefan. He's on the run from the authorities, who feel he was unjustified in walking up to someone in a nightclub and stabbing him in the throat. I know, it's this modern world where you can't do anything fun.
It's political correctness gone
Stefan
mad.
contacted an old friend, Seva, and asked for some assistance in getting off the planet. Seva put him in contact with a mercenary called Jural Kags, and Stefan called him and arranged a pickup from some steep slope to the south of Pito. He'll have to wedge himself there for a day and some of a night, but he did make it to his pickup point without too much difficulty, which leaves us with Kara. Now, Kara and some friends have arranged to take part in a preliminary race this very morning to try to earn spots on the ISB Team Pelago craft for the upcoming race. It's a good idea, but comes with one serious issue. They had to get up at 4 a.m. to make their way to Limpet Cove where the team awaits.
Oh no.
Everyone managed to get themselves up in time and set off to the little shuttle that Cat has borrowed for them. And that is where we resume the story.
Oh, I can't believe we're resuming it at like 5:15 in the morning. It's not a good time to start anything, really.
Yeah, I know. There's a 4 o'clock in the morning now. When did that happen?
The best thing is Luke's a method actor, so I've set my alarm clock for about 3:30, and I'm going to go around his door at about 4, a couple of minutes to, and just start banging.
Maybe I might answer it, unlike the last time I went round and you didn't answer when you were supposed to be streaming.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's fair. Although to be fair, I think I was probably up at 5 o'clock that morning, and may have overslept in my power nap. Anyway, Gabe.
The nap was too powerful. We got a Cara Boone. I'm making a note of a Cara Boone. Thank you, Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
Getting our Kelly, not on this stream.
Kelly always comes through with the big boons as well when we need them.
Yes, and they
As it
are
turns
critical
out.
ones sometimes.
Definitely.
Right. Okay, so our party of 4. So Kat is going to be flying this little shuttle. Cara, obviously, and Freya and Sammy are planning to head down to Limpet Cove. Now, we know Agnar's basically sleeping in until he can meet with Olivia, and everybody else is otherwise occupied. I'm going to assume, unless you tell me otherwise, that you're not planning on taking any of the other NPCs along with you?
Oh, they just slow me down.
All of them.
No, it's not going to be a big group.
Every single one. It's all right. You don't have to look after them. Ben does.
No, it's a girls' morning out. We're enjoying
only
it.
joking.
There's good positive female vibes in the shuttle this morning, which is quite
Okay.
good.
All right. So as you set off down to climb into the little shuttle parked on the lake, on Lake Simel behind the hotel, I just need to make a very quick roll for Kat's flying skills, of course.
It'd be sad to
Yeah,
die
not
because
going to
of
be a
pilot.
problem. So as she straps in, she indicates to her potential passengers to just remind them that they need to put on breath masks because of where they're going. Straps on her own, and the little shuttle heads out across the lake a short way to be away from its mooring point before it smoothly lifts off the surface, flies over the top of the mountain range and ridge that holds the northern edge of Lake Simel, and then dives sharply down towards the ocean so far below. For a little while, of course, all you can see beneath you is forest and rocky crags and so on, but it's not very long before you hit that ocean angle, and Kat sweeps out to sea in a gentle curve before coming into the mooring points on the edge of Limpet Cove, on essentially the far right of the cove if you're coming in from the sea. And as she touches down quite elegantly and maneuvers in to drop the access hatch, she quickly checks to make sure everybody has indeed put their breath masks on, and then pops the hatch and calls out, "We're here. This is way too early."
Oh, telling me. I'm impressed that you could drive at this time in the morning. That's true professionalism, Kat. You're going to win them over today, I think.
The trick is not to have the shaking hands, and to avoid that, you just stay drunk.
Ah, the old trick. I know it, Pav. Know it well. So you're feeling good for today, though. You've got to be on form. We need you. We need you getting a place on this Pelago racer. I think.
I'm actually quite excited to have the controls of one of those. I don't know. I don't know exactly how many laps we'll get, but hopefully they'll give me the controls for long enough to really get into it.
Yeah, hopefully so. I'm sure. I'm sure they'll give you a bit. Just don't get too excited. Getting your hands on such an amazing vessel. Keep it cool. Keep it calm. Keep it collected, but have fun.
Yeah.
Remember the mission first and foremost. I know it's going to be fun to ride it, but we've got to get to Heron Hull, and this is our best bet.
Yeah, but it's a racing ship.
I know it's a racing ship, but think of all that. The Heron Hull's a bit of a way away. You're going to get to do some decent racing before we hit those islands. If
True.
we get the job.
True. Just keep it in mind. I've got to get ISB so far in front that when we drop off, the rest of the crew can shepherd her over the line.
Okay, that sounds good to me. If there's anyone that's capable of it, it's going to be you.
Well, yeah, should be, because, presumably nobody else has thought to hire a really good pilot.
No, I've heard that it's all these teams are like 2-bit operations that just throw things together at the last minute, just grab people off the street and so on.
Yeah, I clearly that must be the way it's done. Yeah. And she hops down and makes sure everybody's clear before closing the hatch. You are a few hundred meters from the first of the sort of covered slipway hangars or covered dock hangars for the various teams. The nearest, of course, is Maglow's. Their green and white is pretty distinctive.
How's it looking there this morning, by the way, at Maglo? What's the vibe?
I'll tell you what. First roll of the evening.
Yeah.
Why don't you make for me a streetwise check?
I will. Let me get my player sheet so that I know what
with intellect.
Streetwise, which is a +0, intellect +2. So I'll add that to my 2d6, which probably doesn't give me enough because that's a 5 + 2 is only a 7.
Okay. As you sort of approach it, you get the feeling that there's still a slightly different vibe around Maglo than anyone else. Perhaps it's a little bit busier with news crews and journalists. There's still more of focus of people's attention than the others, but not that much. But that's all you can really read.
Okay. Oh, guys, I'm just glad that we're not with this lot. They look pretty sullen today. Are we all feeling energetic? We're all feeling youthful, youth TV powered, all of us? We there for the kids?
There's some nods. I mean, a bit of nervousness, but some nods.
It's all right. Well, I guess it's Freya. You all right? Like, I know because Sammy's done this sort of thing before. Kat's got her piloting. She's feeling good. How are you feeling?
A bit curious, actually. I don't think I've ever been on a boat quite like these, and I have been known to get a little seasick.
Oh, now you tell us. We were bigging you up yesterday about your 30 languages and your skills as a press officer and comms and things like that. No, now you're going to be puking out the window the whole trip. That's not going to look good.
Well, how do you know that isn't one of my languages?
I'm worried about the other 29 now, if that's one of them. I want to just make sure I'm not on the toilet after you.
Yes, that's a good question. Do these things have toilets?
I've heard you have to wear a bag down your leg.
Oh, good. Just another bonus.
We can always give you 2 bags if you think that'd be more useful. Start walking like John Wayne.
At least you'd be balanced, I guess.
That's very true.
You bring the term sea legs to a whole new meaning.
Oh,
But
more like pea legs.
but yes, you walk past there, and the very next of the hangars is ISB, which also has, of course, its own little fence out the front, and keeping people back from the entrance. The doors are closed. They're obviously, if they're doing any work on the craft, it's carefully concealed from the press and any fans who come along to have a look. And there are a significant number of fans there.
Kara pulls herself up to her full 5 foot, whatever it was we said she was. I haven't canonized her height, 5'4" or something like that, I think. And she sort of strides through the fans. Excuse me, important business. Kara Alaska Vlogging Productions. Kara Alaska here. Here, please make way. You might have heard of me. I'm sure you have. Please, out of the way, please. Excuse me. Yes, I'll post for photos if anyone needs them. It's okay. Yes, you sir. You look interested. Are you looking forward to the race, sir?
He sort of blinks a little bit, a bit surprised to have been spoken to, and looks across. It's like, yeah, yes.
And what do you think is the biggest issue facing 14 to 19-year-olds on Giikur these days, sir?
14 to 19-year-olds.
Yes, sir.
Biggest issue for 14 to 19-year-olds.
Yes, come on, we're having all day. I'll edit it down, but still, let's keep it choppy.
On Giikur, I'm. Do I win a prize if I get it right?
Sure, why not?
Okay, I'm going to go with the fact that it's largely a tourist-based place means there's lots of activity for those who want to watch things, but not enough for people who want to do things.
Oh, that's a very good answer. What does our survey say? She looks over at Kat. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
She sort of thinks about it for a second and then raises a thumb slightly quizzically.
Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Cara reaches into her pocket and pulls out one of her, she was doing all the graphics last night, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She pulls out one of her business cards, hands it to him, and says, get in touch with that. Drop a message over there and we'll sort something out for you.
Thank you.
Spread the word. Kara Alaska's Vlogging Productions is here with ISB to bring you all the action from the Pelago racing.
Okay. All right. The moment you mention that you're with ISB, a lot of heads turn towards you from this crowd. After all, they are queuing up to see and hear any news about their favorite team. And you can actually hear just a little bit of a buzz in the crowd as people ask the question as to whether or not you're in the team, whether or not you're covering the team, whether or not you're part of the team, and what have you. And as all eyes begin to turn towards your little group, Freya begins to slightly sort of retract her head into her shoulders a little bit, looking a bit nervous.
Kara sort of motions to the other three to sort of head towards and sort of start knocking on the door to go in, and sort of stands between them and the crowd. And he says, crowds, our new friends, get on socials, big up the ISB, big up Kara Alaska's Vlogging Productions. Let's make ISB the big team of this event, shall we? This is going to be the big media event of the year. Yeah, ISB. And she tries to start an ISB chant.
A few people do start to join in, and then it slowly spreads through the crowd. And there's a certain degree of enthusiasm. People, are jumping around a little bit as they chant.
That's it. Get your kids on board. If you've got teenage sons and daughters, get them in the team as well. Get them a jersey. Get them the merch. This is the youth movement. This is for all of you. You're all youngsters. Look at you all. Even you, madam. Even you. Come on. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Take care. Stay big on ISB. And she turns around to head towards her. I guess the entrance.
Okay. As soon as you
Don't
reach
literally
the
get your kids on board.
Yeah, there's not space.
as soon as you reach the sort of gate outside the front of the building, a couple of the security people who are marching up and down pull the gates open. These guys are supplied by the race and they're wearing generic outfits. But as soon as you're past that line, almost everybody you see on the other side is wearing the black and purple livery of the ISB team.
Okay. Okay. Be good, everyone. Don't steal anything.
Okay.
Uh,
Are you heading straight up to the main hangar?
yeah, let's go up.
All right. As you approach the main hangar, once again you see a couple of more generically garbed security people, and again they've been given details of who you are. They pull open the door so you can go in, and they'll close it behind you. Inside, you can see in front of you the hangar is very brightly lit. It's almost proper dawn now, but inside it's gloomy, very gloomy. But the hangar is brightly lit with lights running all the way down it, and you can see 3 craft moored in the dock. The largest by far is the Pelago racing craft, but there are 2 smaller skiff type vehicles, all of them wearing the same black and purple ISB livery. The largest craft is the one furthest out, furthest towards the sea, and so you can't see that as clearly. But the 2 closer ones, even though they're relatively small and simple craft, even they have that look about them, which means even stationary, they look like they're traveling at speed, if you know what I mean. Every angle on them is incredibly sharp and raked, and they look like a racing craft.
Look at it. Things of beauty. If I remember correctly, we are allowed to take footage except anything under the water level.
Mhm.
So Kara will turn to Freya and sort of do that. Let's get this rolling. Let's get some footage while we're here. Let's do some first bits. Just keep the camera. Nothing's underneath. It's okay. Just keep the camera. Focus on me with one of the skiffs in the background, maybe.
Okay. She grabs the camera and fires it up.
Does it look like looks like she's vaguely doing a good job? Has she been practicing?
Let's find out. Certainly competent, yes.
Hello, everyone. Kara Lasky here. I'm here at ISB, and it is the start of the Pelago Racing Week. And I'll be honest, I've had my first proper look at these 3 ships lying here together, and they are things of beauty. I have never seen anything so magnificent. To my dear viewers, this is why you need to get into engineering. Stay in school, kids. Stay in school, and you too can make things as beautiful as this. Whether it's the design, the artwork, or become a pilot yourself one day, this is where it's at. ISB, they'll sort you out. Sort of does a little cut thing.
Okay.
I'm feeling a bit like a Davina McCall today. I'm channeling some Davina vibes from the 90s.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the
Street
skiff in the background, just so you sort of have an understanding, it's vaguely reminiscent of a sort of flying wing, but in the form of a boat. And it appears it has a complicated rear end based around what's essentially a glorified rocket engine at the back, which sits between 2 hulls, a little like a catamaran structure, but those hulls extend out further than you'd expect across the front, leaving a sort of flat curved deck So it's like a flying wing, but with two prongs sticking forwards, and they extend back to form the base of the hull with a rocket engine between them at the rear.
Oh, serious kit. Serious kit. I'll make sure I don't show off too much of the rocket, even though that's not a secret. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a time and a place. We'll look more at the beauty of the front than the hardware at the back.
Absolutely. And they're not necessarily strictly elegant craft, but there is a certain beauty in their sleekness.
Yeah. Just like Ewan, really.
Just like Ewan. Yeah.
Cara will call over one security guys. Excuse me, my good man. Is Cassie around at all?
Yeah, no problem. In the office. And he points.
Fantastic. Thank you. Could you do as we walk past, could you do a piece for camera, please? Could you say your name, your job role, and that you're with ISB and that people should watch Cara Laska's vlogging productions?
He nods and he says, "Oh, absolutely. Where do I sort of look? What? That's the camera, right? I mean, sorry, I don't do this."
You're doing absolutely fine already. You're a natural. Just this young lady here's Freya. She's lovely. Just look at what she's got in her hands, and smile and do your best.
Okay.
Star.
Hi, I'm Garboneth Whalen. My job with the ISB team is I handle the life insurance for all of the people who go out on the boats.
And you should watch Cara Laska's vlogging productions.
And Cara Laska, vlogging thing. Watch that because
Yes.
I'm on it.
You certainly are, Garbreth, however you spell it. How do you spell that, Garbreth?
GAR
J-R, yeah.
BANETH
B-A-N-E-T-H, yeah.
WAHLEN
W-H-L-E-L-A-N.
LEN.
L-E-N.
Garboneth Whalen.
I'll put that on the little bit at the bottom. The strip will come up. I'll write Garboneth Whalen, sex bomb.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He doesn't look like a sex bomb in the strictest sense.
Well, everyone can look like a sex bomb if you're trying to be nice.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Whalen. We're off to see Cassie. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, well, I'll see you in a bit.
I hope you don't need to pay out on anyone's insurance today.
It's my job to make sure we don't.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Cara smiles and heads up to the offices, please.
Okay. You head round to the office. You've actually been here before because you met Cassie there the previous visit. And when you arrive, the door is open and Cassie is in there and far from alone. There are people coming in and out second by second with various errands and updates. And she looks up as you arrive and she says, "Excellent. You're on the second race."
Race number 2, our lucky number.
Yes, the course around the island. I'll get someone to show you that. Actually, you've got people on your crew, haven't you? It's fine. And she pulls out a tablet and literally throws it towards you to sort of say, that's all the details. Head round to our stores. That's 2 doors down when you're ready and get yourselves the relevant kit.
Thank you very much, Cassie. Just as I go, if you want any, we're getting our footage ourselves, but if you want any footage for ISB specifically, if you poke the camera out the window, I've got the crowd whipped up for ISB and the word is passing around, hopefully, so it might be good if you need anything.
I tell you, the one shot more than anything I think we'd like to have.
Yeah.
If you could, when the craft heads out for its first race, if you could head right down to the other end of the hangar
Yep.
and get footage of our craft setting off on its trip and then joining up with the others as they head out to the start line.
Oh, lovely. Yes, that sounds perfect. I'll tell you, we'll do that. We'll get that sorted before we go to stores, so we can set up and make sure it's a nice shot before we prep for us.
Brilliant. Thank you. They'll be heading off in about 10 minutes.
Okay. Oh, it's very exciting. See you soon, Cassie. Thank you.
And good luck. Do well for us.
Yeah, we will. We will. We'll do you proud. Cara grabs the posse and says, "Okay, you heard the lady." She sort of passes the tablet over to Sammy. Says, "Could you peruse all that? Make sure we're not missing anything ridiculous. I'm going to go down with Freya, and we're going to get a shot of the ship leaving. Kat, do you want to sort of mooch around, get a vibe of, get a vibe of the gear, the equipment, and sort of give yourself a head start on things if you can, just for the next 15 minutes or so."
Sure. I'll find out if those little skiffs use the same control layout and everything. If so, I'll have a sit in the cockpit and make vroom vroom noises while I waggle them.
Good planning indeed.
It's what I would do.
It's the closest I'm going to get to excitement until we actually get to put the toe down.
It won't be long. Race 2, that can't be too far off.
No, I think each of these is fairly quick.
But it means we could have got up an hour later if they'd have told us we were race 2.
Perhaps. Yeah. Though then we wouldn't have got the footage and I wouldn't have had a chance to practice.
I suppose that's true. Go make your vroom vroom noises. Come on, Freya. Let's go down and get set up, and I'll show you how to shoot a good image.
Yeah. Good plan. So the three of you sort of split up, and as you set off to your various groups, you're traveling with Freya out to the other end.
Yes, we're going to go to get the footage of the first Pelago racer leaving.
Okay. The most obvious thing that you sort of find as you head down is that this is quite a long hangar. It takes you, a couple of minutes to walk down to the end. And as you go, you walk past first one and then another of these two skiffs, watching as Kat leaps nimbly onto one of them and clambers inside. And then you pass the craft. So imagine from above, it would look reminiscent of a trident. It has three very pointy hulls sticking forwards. The middle one stretching further forward than the other two. It also stretches slightly further back than the other two at the rear. Between them, they are connected by these very aerodynamic surfaces, wing shapes. At the back of that hull, there's a hatch and window and door system, which is effectively hidden in the wake of the craft, looking much more like the kind you'd have on a spaceship than on a boat. And between the hulls, so one on each side of that central part, there are huge rocket exhausts to provide the main thrust. The craft seems to be quite light, even though it's large, because it sits really high on the water. Barely any of its hull is actually underneath the surface. In fact, just glancing at it, because the way the curve makes it look as if it's just sitting on the water, it looks as if you sort of touched it with your finger, it would just spring off the surface and disappear, like it's being held there by surface tension. And it has up towards the front of the of all three hulls. It has some glazed areas showing crew quarters and cockpit spaces. It is incredibly sharply angled. The points at the front of the individual hulls, even as you walk past them, you look as if you could actually prick your finger on them if you touch them. They look that sharp.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Yeah, look, Freya, come around to this angle. It's going to be coming out this way. If we come and stand here, we'll get the best shot of it. And sort of Kara uses her eye for, the visual media and that to sort of try and find the best spot she can to get a bit, the light coming in and it sort of heading off and the best angle. Make it look extra
Right.
sleek.
Can you roll an education check with your visual media, please, for me?
I certainly shall. Ah, excellent. That's a 7 plus 4 is 11.
Okay.
Strong.
You managed to capture the most remarkable looking video. As you move the camera through, you capture the lights from inside the hangar playing over the surface of this very smooth and shiny ship. Large sections of it aren't shiny, though. They're kind of satiny or slightly matte in texture. And that play of the shiny bits and the matte bits looks great as the light, reflects off it. But also you manage to frame it against the rising sun in the east, and you can see the sun glowing through the open end to the hangars. It is a beautiful shot of a very pretty ship.
Oh. You see, Freya, it's all about framing and the angle. So lighting's such an important thing. What you're doing for us is good, right? But try things out. Be brave. Give it a go. Half the footage isn't going to make it anyway. So just try things. When you're not doing anything, just like get a little movement shots, sideways shots, sort of close-up shots of faces, zoom in on things. Just try around, improve your skills a bit.
She takes the camera and has a go. When she shows you what she's done, it's fair to say she has captured the actual subject of the shot, but where in your video it looks stunning and beautiful and impressive, in hers it just looks boat.
Oh, that's a boat, isn't it, Freya? That's a boat. I'll tell you what. We'll spend some time over it now. We've got to go and get sorted for the second race, but it's a good start. And I think you're really going to pick this up. If you're interested, I'll always spend some time with you and go through art stuff with you if you've got time. It helps with carvings, the artistry of the whole thing,
Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And while you're talking, you can now hear a couple of people yell at each other as the crew run out in their very sort of tight-fitting cat suits, almost, they're wearing, and leap onto the craft. They seem a mixture of those who know exactly what they're doing and some who may have never set foot on such a craft before and are being told where to go and what to do. They open a top hatch, not the one at the rear, but a top hatch on the craft, and clamber in. It's clearly not designed with an easy or comfortable entrance in mind. It's lightweight and simplistic. You have to pull it open and then kind of straddle the top of the hull and wriggle your way down rather than actually have a nice, elegant staircase to descend. Weight is critical and they don't waste it on luxuries. But once their whole crew, a dozen people, is on board, the hatch is sealed. You don't really get any of that reassuring thunk noise as it seals, just a fair click as it locks into place. But it's well enough engineered that when locked in place, there's no visible seam between the hatch and the top of the craft. And moments later, you hear the engine start up with a whine, and as some people on the dock gently push it out into the water away from the quayside, the craft starts to move. It seems that its moving is this engine it has is not really ideal for low speed maneuvering. As soon as it winds up to its proper tick over, it's beginning to accelerate the craft fairly rapidly. So it starts to set off, and I assume you're going to try and get some footage of it leaving.
Oh, absolutely. All the footage we can.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can take your existing role for your quality of performance. It it departs into the sunrise, and it is a very, very pretty craft, and even more impressive because not in formation or anything, but at roughly the same time, all of the other team's craft are heading out in parallel. There's something odd about the wakes. You're not that experienced with watercraft, but you know what a wake normally looks like. All of these crafts seem to have unusual wakes. They don't look like a motorboat would behind them. There's obviously stuff going on under the water that makes the turbulence behave differently.
Okay, but I'm not allowed to know about that. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. What she's going to do, she's going to take some footage and she's going to ping it over to Agnar and immediately phone him up. What time is it? Like we look like 6 and a bit now, are we? Then 7. 6
It'll be almost exactly 5:30.
5:30. Cool.
Which is the golden hour on Giikur, right?
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one.
She's gonna call Agnar to see if he might answer, but she's gonna send some footage and give him a call.
Hello?
Agnar, did I wake you?
No. I'm just getting ready.
It's the
You know
golden.
me. I'm an early bird.
Apparently, Agnar, I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it myself. But apparently, there's like places can be quite pretty when the sun comes up. Like the last time I haven't seen the sun come up since I was in my 20s, and that was before I went to bed.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. Why haven't you told me about this before? Why haven't you got me up to see this?
It's happened all the time. But all right, maybe not on world, but if we're flying past the sun at 11 o'clock at night and sat in the Baltic Star bar, it's the same thing, right? You remember those photos we took that one evening?
Yeah,
Grey Hill and those shots. Oh, it's good.
I look back and they're all blurry afterwards, though. They felt like they were better at the time. Like when you take a picture of a sun, a star, and it looks magnificent, but then on your camera it doesn't look quite so good.
Yeah, don't blame me. You're the photographer.
Oh, you were the drunk one.
Yeah, that's true. What? You all right? How's it coming along?
All right. We're in. We've infiltrated the base, and we're going out in the second race. I don't know. Are you meeting up with Sharp today for these sort of warm-up races, or are you meeting up with her for the main ones?
I believe that, Ben, that was the plan, wasn't it?
Yes.
To meet up today because
Yes.
she had tickets for pretty much everything. Yeah, I'm meeting up with her.
If you can get up there get some stuff for the second run, that's one we're on, and we'd appreciate your knowing that you're supporting us while quaffing fine champagne and caviar and what else you hoity-toity types do while the rest of us are doing the hard work.
What time are you due to set up?
I don't know. She sort of puts her hand over the device and shouts out to one of the ISB suited guys. Hey, what time's the second race, by the way? Fella, mate, chum?
On the hour.
It's on the hour. It's on the hour. It's on the hour. Agnar, I think that's Is that 0600 hours, as you military types would say?
Yep.
0600 hours, Agnar.
All right, I'm yeah, okay, sure. Let me get on the phone to Sharp, and I'll be Oscar Mike right now.
Be whatever name you want to be, but I'll call you Agnar.
Well, what?
Bye, love you, bye.
And after that, he will contact Sharp, but feel free to
No, jump to that. I'm only going to go.
jump wherever you wish.
I'm going to spend 15 minutes into my next thing, I think.
Yeah, so he'll call Sharp. He'll hesitate for a little bit and think about what time of day it is, and he'll be like, "No, most people. It's only Kara who likes to lie."
Okay, you call Sharp. There's a few rings before she answers. Hello.
Oh, hi. Good morning, Sharp. I hope I didn't wake you, interrupt your morning. I've been reliably informed that the first race is underway. I was just curious about what time you wanted to meet and find our seats. I think Kara's on the second, and she was quite keen for some support. I know they have no idea that we'll be there or not.
The people who want to watch the first batch of prelims, that's the morning races, tend to go down to the Cove. We can do that if you like, but I was planning to wait until the afternoon ones and then meet you at the big stand on the northwest of the island. We've got a shuttle waiting for us there, which will put us over the race for the afternoon races. They mainly use the morning ones to shake out any technical glitches, to try out potential crew members, and to find out any tactical changes, learn a bit about water conditions. It's a bit of an expert's observation. They really get into the proper racing in the afternoon.
As she's started to say that to him, and as he's realised that she's not interested whatsoever, he's grabbing like his key to the room and getting ready, and he's out the door and off down the corridor. No, that sounds perfect. You know me, I'm no expert. I'll meet you there in the afternoon if you want.
Perfect. They are laying on food, so meet me there about noon. We'll have lunch on the craft.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds wonderful. Thank you very much. Sorry to disturb your morning. Have a nice.
No problem
breakfast.
at all. I was just planning to go and visit the police station.
He's probably a little bit out of breath by this point because he's hurriedly making his way, realizing that he's only got half. How far is it then, out of curiosity?
From where to where? Sorry.
The coronet to the Cove. For him to make his way there as quick as
to get to the Cove, you'd need a craft to get you there, a ship.
Okay.
Because it's down on the ocean.
Yeah, so he only needs to get down to the docks, which are reasonably close to the coronet because it has a view, doesn't it?
Yeah, if
right?
you'd have to have a ship to take you down there. Now this is a time when there are a lot of people going back and forth to the Cove.
Yeah,
a lot. So in addition to both of the local downports offering shuttle services, so obviously you could get on any of the mass transit systems and then go to a downport for a trip. You can also hop on like shuttle services which leave from the north edge of both Lata and Pito.
Okay, perfect. He will probably aim to do that because that's might not be closer than the local. Might not be closer than the shuttle to get on, but in his
The
mind, it'll be
quickest way
quicker
from
than
where you are, the quickest way would be to head to the north of Lata.
Lata.
Just effectively come out of the coronet through its front door, turn left, walk straight up past the cascade.
Yeah.
And just beyond there, there'll be a shuttle pickup point.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. That is his aim as he's walking along having this conversation.
Does he have in his possession something he can use as a breath mask, or would he need to obtain one on the way?
No. Sorry, he would have thrown on his. I suppose he would have taken his full combat armor.
Okay.
Oh my.
Because it would have been, he's got it on hand. It seems silly to. I mean, it's completely overkill, and it probably looks ridiculous. But seeing as people are walking around armed anyway, it seems a lot less imposing walking around in armor than it does armed, and it does the job that he needs it to do.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
absolutely. And bear in mind, because you're going to a high pressure environment like this, you won't look wildly out of place. There will be people who are just using a face covering breath mask, but there will be plenty of people who've pulled on much more elaborate solutions to the problem.
Yeah, cool. So that will be his immediate go-to. I mean, it's generally his immediate go-to anyway, but certainly on Giikur, he has tended to use that in place of a breathing mask. As he's running along, sort of out of breath, he'll say to shut up. Have you heard any news of my two comrades?
Yes. I've got some indication. I know where one of them is, and I'm going to go and see her this morning. The other one, it's a bit less certain, shall we say? But I'm not too worried.
Okay, well that puts me somewhat at ease. Do, if you can, without without landing yourself in it or landing me in it for that matter, tell Sarara I'm thinking about her, and if she needs anything, just to let you know, and you can let me know, and I would call, but I'd imagine she's probably not allowed too many phone calls.
I'll see what I can do, and yes, I'll let her know that you were thinking of her.
Thanks. See you at noon for second brunch.
Second, you're not having a third brunch by then?
Maybe. I've tried to cut back, and I'm having an actual breakfast, and first brunch is brunch, and then lunch is second brunch, and
right.
Watching the figure.
Watching it do what exactly?
At this very minute, as he's running towards the towards the shuttle bus. Mostly jiggle.
Right. Okay. That's a picture. Thank you for that.
Try not to think about it.
Excellent. Well, I'll see you later.
Yes, thank you. Once again.
You sign off?
Yes, yeah. He'll hang up. On his way, is there any? He'll be keeping an eye out for a merch stall. He wants to pick up the most
no
audacious,
shortage of those, especially this side of the lake. Yeah.
the biggest, most audacious ISB merchandise he can find.
Okay. You really want something bold.
Well, they've got to be able to see it from inside the craft. Traveling
All
at
right.
high speed is Agnar's theory. I know it's probably not likely, but he really wants something bold.
All right. If you really want something bold, 1 second.
That's all right.
All right. It's not exactly cheap. There
Here we
is
go.
a backpack device which you sling over your shoulders, which acts as a very large hollow projector.
Oh yeah.
And it effectively projects into the space above your head a banner. It's programmed with all of the team liveries, but you can also overlay them with your own messages. You can animate them. You can, because it's a fairly generic tool, reprogram it at will to, you can upload video to it and play video. You could even, in theory, if you had access to the live stream of the race, stand there broadcasting the race to anyone near you using it. It is a very sophisticated system handling still and moving videos.
Oh, Ben, I like how you preempted my question of whether I would just be able to do anything with it after the Penagro races. How much for one of your backpacks, hollow backpacks?
The person in there raises a slight eyebrow. They don't sell a lot of these. They are quite pricey, and says, "That's 2,000."
2,000 credit. He ums and ahs a bit and then realizes he's in a hurry. Yes, yeah, sure, I'll take one. Be a nice gift for Kara, he thinks to himself. Well, he actually probably says it out loud to the person who has no idea who Kara is. Once she's finished, to repay her for my Isaac support, part of
it. Yeah.
And he will buy one of those for 2,000.
Okay.
2,000 credits.
As I say, not cheap.
So worth it. So worth
no, but it sounds awesome.
So you can throw that over your shoulders.
Yeah.
Despite being quite sophisticated, it's not actually enormously bulky. It's lightweight on your shoulders, and it is. It doesn't add significantly to your weight or your clumsiness in any way.
I like how you said add to your clumsiness. Thanks, Ben. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I was actually thinking more about your strength, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because you could have sort of put it on and immediately collapsed to the floor.
Yeah, if it was certainly if it was heavy. Anything more than just your regular day-to-day backpack.
Yeah.
And then he will take back off towards the shuttle service.
Okay. On arriving at the shuttle area, there is no actual landing pad for the shuttles. The way it works is that people literally queue up on the edge, looking over the edge of the island and the ocean beyond, and a shuttle literally comes down and sort of hovers next to the edge of the peak, lowers its door, which forms a walkway, and you walk across a very, very substantial drop, in fact, straight into the shuttle. But the hatch it's designed for passenger use. It's quite a wide hatch. It's got handrails. It's a very, very reliable way of doing things, provided it can hover smoothly. And they have reasonably competent pilots.
Is there a cost to the shuttle? Is there someone?
The shuttle to
taking
the thing is
tickets.
free for the duration of the Pelago.
That's what I like to hear.
The free service.
He'll jump on, stand or find a seat, get comfortable, and then start trying to program the backpack. So there's a backdrop of the ISB branding, and then "Go Co Alaska Go" words that flash that read across the front of it.
Okay.
Scroll across the front of it.
Excellent. Okay. That's excellent. You can easily do that. While you might require a bit more sophistication if you were trying to do anything highly technical with it, this device comes pre-configured with all of the team liveries, the logos for the actual race itself, the actual Pelago flags and logos, images of the bay, images of the planet, all elegantly chosen. Some fairly generic stock images that aren't really related at all, that probably came preloaded by the manufacturer, and a very simple interface to put up a message and animate it a bit and scroll it and do that kind of thing with it. That's literally built in as easy to program.
Nice. Ironically enough, I see it as Luke doing graphics versus me doing something on Canva. Very appropriate to Kara doing graphics, the more complicated stuff that potentially could be done with it, and Agnar doing stuff with it. It works out very well. Is it a generic size? Can you make it as big as possible if that is an option?
You can limit its size down to smaller if you need it to, but its normal projected size is essentially about 4 meters by 2 meters widescreen.
Oh, perfect. We'll go with that. And then he'll sit back with a wide grin on his face, feeling quite pleased with himself for the journey.
Excellent. Yes, that's no problem at all. And within moments, the shuttle takes you down. There is seating in there, but it's busy, the shuttle. There are people hopping on it and heading down, and you don't find a seat quickly, but the ride is a handful of minutes. It really isn't very long. It dips down over the side of the peak and heads north, and then turns east. And it appears that what it's essentially doing is running a roughly clockwise circuit to the bay. So in essence, all of the shuttles heading to the bay will come in one side, which is roughly where the marina is, where Kat has just parked up the shuttle she flew.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones leaving will leave from the other side. So they don't run the risk of running into each other. It's essentially a one-way system for shuttles. And clearly only applies to these regular services because they're all operating at the same sort of frequency, the same altitude, the same rough route. So as you come down over Limpet Cove, over the cove itself, what you actually find is out of the right-hand side of your craft through the windows, you can actually see the line of the hangars go past before you get to the left-hand side looking in from the sea, which is where the shuttle port is for the regular scheduled services like this one, in exactly the opposite end of the hangar line from where the marina is, where Cat parked. And it drops down, and at this end there is in fact a large open area where they can actually land. So when the hatch drops, it drops right down to the ground.
As we pass the hangars, if if he has time, he'll quickly flash on the holo projector and see if he can. I don't know how they work. Agnar doesn't know how they work. Will it go through the window?
No.
If he's not wearing it, if he's like pointing, okay, that's fine.
No,
He'll try anyway.
It won't work through the window because the window would be a partly reflective surface.
Yeah. He'll try anyway, and then just go okay, put it on, make sure it's all switched on and going, ready to jump out.
Okay. So as you leap out, you want it turned on then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you will leap out, and by the time you've done that and you are stalking down towards the viewing area on that side, you're probably watching that first group of craft head out for the first preliminary, seeing them head off into the distance. And all the way around Limpet Cove, you can see there are screens, hollow screens, everywhere. Big ones, small ones mounted on the sides of buildings or on the sides of the hangars, ones that people are just setting up on top of a fence post here or projecting up against a wall. Everywhere they are showing footage of what's going on. You can almost, unless you literally turn and look out to sea, you cannot avoid video of this preliminary down here. And all of the teams are projecting the race on their hangars with a specific focus on their craft, their team's craft. So you can see the craft head out, and you can find an easy vantage point to watch either the race sort of in summary or pick a particular team that you're interested in and wander towards their hangar to see it.
He sort of grabs the first person he sees who's not coming off the shuttle with him and says, quick, sorry, what race is this?
First preliminary.
Oh,
they're just heading out now.
Perfect, thanks. And he'll sigh a bit of a relief that he hasn't missed it, because that's not what he was expecting. And he'll head off to find the ISB hangar.
Okay. The ISB hangar is the seventh along from this side of the 8, and you can't miss it. It's the black and purple livery that gives it away. The whole hangar's roof is black and purple.
Strong colours.
And because every team has the hangar in their team colours, it's really easy. It's like following a flag or an emblem on a shield. You cannot miss it.
Perfect. He will head in that direction and try and find. Is there a spot where he would easily be able to see the projection and
yes.
also be able to see the craft leave?
Yeah, if you were to stand in front of the hangar, then the front of that hangar building is going to have the race projected on it. And if it's the ISB hangar building, while they will show you other craft, they're going to focus particularly on the ISB vehicle. But additional to that, obviously those hangars are fairly substantial, but you can see past them in the gaps between them out into the bay. So you will be able to see the craft come and go.
Perfect. So he'll try and find a good spot there. He'll be more concerned initially about the craft leaving, being able to see his hollow projection.
Cool.
Than he will about being able to see the screen, and then when it leaves, he'll make his way closer to the screen if need be to get a better view.
Excellent.
But that's his plan.
All right. Well, as you settle in, the craft, they only take a handful of minutes to get out to the start line. If you were out there looking, if you were physically on the sea at that point, you would have absolutely no way of knowing where the start line was. It is entirely measured by electronic systems that tell you when you're in the right place. And for this very first preliminary, all of the craft are lined up in their hangar order. it'll be a relatively random selection, but for this first preliminary, this is the selection they go for. And so effectively, the ISB team is in lane 2 for our purposes, and all of the craft are lined up next to each other. And as they get there, they all kill the engines. And there is a relatively brief moment, just a few minutes. These craft bob around a little bit in the water, and then there is a countdown, and then all of the screens suddenly display like the expanding word race, which sort of shoots out of the screen as if it's coming at you, but of course it's just part of the screen image. It disappears off the side of the screen as it goes, and as that word happens, all of the craft light up their engines to full power all at once. Even though you are a considerable distance away, they are pointing those exhausts straight at you, and you don't just hear them, you can feel them. It actually shakes the air around you as they all light off together. Within a fraction of a second, they're moving forwards at quite a high acceleration, and as they go, you start to see how they work. The first phase of their movement is that underneath they have a hydrofoil arrangement. So as they travel, the entire hull lifts out of the water. And then just a few seconds after that, once they're up and stable, the front 2 legs of the hydrofoil lift out of the water, leaving just the rear leg down in the water. And it seems to be barely in the water, almost skimming along the surface, throwing this incredibly high speed, thin rooster tail up at the back of the craft. It looks insane. These craft aren't actually being held up by anything, but hovering just a little bit above the waves, the ground effect lift that they get from their bodies is enough to get them going. And as they begin the first big turn to the right and accelerate, you see that they not only accelerate, they accelerate through the sound barrier. Those cones of mist start to appear across the front of the craft and then disappear suddenly as they break through the sound barrier at this high pressure atmospheric environment. And very shortly after that, you hear like a staccato rumble as 8 sonic booms reach you almost together. And within a fraction of a second, the craft seem to be gone out of sight around the cove. And all you can see is the race being reported on the screens. They are fast. And that is where we'll take our break.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ben.
I hope you're getting excited, Luke.
I am. I don't think I want to race in them anymore. It sounds a bit dangerous. So we're going to take a quick break, just a few minutes, and then we could come back for about half an hour at the end. It's going to be a little short burst at the end, like the race, really. So go do what you need to do. Grab a drink, go to the loo, have a breather, and don't go anywhere. And we'll be back for a final burst of the boys from the Baltic Star this evening. Now, let me find a little break. But I moved it around, so theoretically, things should be better. Let's see if that is indeed the case. If I get rid of that, I think we're good to go. Look at that. Okay. See you in a bit. friends. It's just me and you now. They've gone. You can't see them, of course, but there's no one in the chairs, and it's just me and you now, and we can talk about what we want without them butting in. Well, that sounds like Ewan's door's moving, but it's a wonderful time. It's a private time between us, and it's so lovely to have you with us here this evening, of course. It brings joy to my weary heart after busy weeks to sit here on a Friday evening and play games and have you guys with us. We've always said we would sit around the table and just play it anyway, the three of us, but it's nice to do it in the presence of you lot as well. The Secret Lives of the other PCs. Ask me anything else. We'll have a traveller ask me anything. A Baltic Star ask me anything. Love Lives. Who we got from the PCs? I'm trying to push. Well, we know that Agnar. He did love Telon Rack. I don't know how, but in what way, but he certainly did. And but I think he's got something with Olivia Sharp, which Kara's pushing more than anything, because it's good to have friends in high places. I don't know. That's something to ask Ewan. We're quite careful with relationships when it comes to canon. We're not a very romance first stream. I know some channels focus quite heavily on relationships or self journeys and things like that. I think it's because we're three mates. It's quite hard to pull romance. It was never one of our main things. I don't know if he is actually. I only know this. I think we've talked about Kara and Sarah before, haven't we? About sexualities and things like that. But is that Ewan that's back? I'm not in the screen. Is that Ewan that's back? Yes. Ewan, Ewan's here. Maybe you'll be able to answer Ewan. Only answer if you feel like it. Basically, how many wives has Agnar got, and is Stefan by? Feel free to answer or not answer if you want.
No, I'll totally answer that. Agnar has never been married, and funnily enough, I would say he certainly has a bit of a thing for Rack, but Stefan not so much on the bisexual front.
That's the it's like Stefan and Sarah. They're like think of like a 10-season sitcom down the Friends route or something like that. I don't know, or Frasier. Or
I was gonna say
Niles and Daphne or something. I don't know. That's the Stefan and Sarah. They're the annoying one. They're the annoying couple in those series. That season 3. You have season 1, nothing going. Season 2, I don't know. Season 3, a few drinks are had and they stare into each other's eyes in one moment, and then there's a bit of awkwardness in season 4 because they're good friends. So that's what in my mind anyway. Ewan, I don't know about yours. Hard to tell.
Yeah, I think they've obviously spent a reasonable amount of time together with a bit of a hiatus in the middle, and they're now back spending a reasonable amount of time together again. I think I'm sure what I've said to you before is that if Stefan was going to lay it on the line for someone, it would be Sarah, because whether that be friendship or something more, I think they're closely entwined.
They're definitely closely entwined. I like the way you say that. They're like soulmates in a way, which can mean what you want it to mean. Which is why Sarah didn't turn on him either when she was arrested and told him to make a run for it. So I like their relationship. There's something about their friendship that I really, really like. So they've known each other since university, and while Saraya travelled around after that, and he did, they sort of, no doubt they kept in touch a bit, and they're sort of re-coming back together. Very nice.
Yeah.
I can only imagine of the adventures and the shenanigans they got up to during her studies. Well, he dropped out, obviously.
Yes, yeah, which I think is half the fun. He had loads of time on his
Well, you're spending a lot of time trying to
hands.
nick that big ship.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. With help from her, because frankly, he'd have just got himself arrested if it was left up to him.
That is true. Kelly's other question was the investment of the crew. How are they doing? Well, currently on the Baltic Star, we have a number of Moanth eggs that are probably hatched, and the crew are probably eating people as we speak. Uh, we also have
Hmm.
we also have 50 tons of frozen mackerel, 30 tons of frozen shark, 10 tons of frozen slatefish, and 5 kilograms of Stanic HPDM, which I think is a rock or something. So, in answer to how our investments are doing, terribly. We just got a ship full of fish and
It's a
angry
fish-heavy
giant
portfolio.
creatures. It's very fish heavy. I think Carver got a bit carried away. I think the idea is that we're going to fill the ship with fish, and then when we finally start traveling, that's the game title, to planets that maybe don't have as much food. Are we going? What are we going to do? Are we going to like hand it out like people sent from God to bring free food to the needy? Are we gonna like totally ramp up the prices? Or are we gonna play fair but professional?
I think you've got to find the right market, right? So we're solely going to stop on desert worlds to offload the fish.
Just yeah.
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
Solely.
We'll see what happens.
Uh,
Solely, yeah. I thought I'd throw that in.
we're gonna skate along, are we?
Oh,
Right, Ben's back now. Should we do the second half so we can get a little bit of game going? Are we toasting though?
Absolutely.
We must be toasting though.
We are.
Right, cool. Right, we're going to come out of the break now. Here we go. Monk. Oh, do I need to get rid of this window? So hang on, bear with me. Although the screen doesn't work anymore, does it? Because we're on roll 20. So I'll lift the lid, and
oh.
it's just a black screen. I'll leave it as a black screen to remind us what could be. I'll tell you what.
What once was.
I'll upload that picture at one. I can't do it now because we're in stream, but next week I'll upload.
Yeah.
I'll upload him, and he can live there.
We'll work it out over time. We just had to make a little change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, so this is that time. The time has come, the Aslan said, to talk of many things, of asteroids and planetoids and gas giants with rings. At this time in the evening, we take a brief moment to raise a glass to a former shipmate. The last time we spoke of Greyhill Bast, he'd begun to make a name for himself aboard a ship called Cherry Falls, one of the new ships in service of a wealthy businessman called Carvel Built. Greyhill had begun making a drink from Becker fruit, making him very popular aboard the ship, but it wasn't very long before he found he was stewarding his employer personally, as Carvel Built himself was taking a trip on the Cherry Falls. Now, ever eager to impress the boss, Greyhill decided to make copious notes, not only of what Built drank and ate, but also what time of the day each was preferred, and what mood the man appeared to be in at that moment, what his business was, so whether or not he had meetings later and how soon. And because of that, Bilt's experience was that before very long, he would walk into the bar aboard the ship, and without a word being uttered, it seemed that Greyhill would already have exactly what he was about to order, just being handed to him. A remarkable experience. And I've lived in my town for a very long time, and I have a similar experience in several of the pubs I visit, because this is essentially the reason I don't get a lot of stout on an electric pump when I drink, because pretty much everyone behind a bar knows that I have whatever's strongest and quickest, and it's never that. So, with that in mind, let's raise a glass to the late, great Greyhill Bast.
To the late, great Greyhill Bast.
The late, great Greyhill Bast.
Excellent. So, we need briefly to cut back to our uh, our team in the ISB facility, because they don't have very long to get ready for their race.
Indeed.
Kara's gonna, after all the footage is gone,
Mhm.
and she's finished on the phone call to Agnar, she's going to gather the posse together,
Mhm.
and she's gonna head up to that sort of, what was it like, the cargo room, or if it was the
Yeah, the supply room, basically.
supply room, yeah.
Okay. In there's shelves and racks of equipment and stuff, but mostly clothing and sort of basic kit needed by personnel. Everything from tool sets and team branded outfits and caps and everything like that, and a table in the middle where you find Garboneth Whalen sitting there, and he waves the four of you over and slides some tablets across at you, asking for your signatures.
Oh, I thought I meant to take. Are they like seasickness pills? Garboneth Whalen, how are you?
Very well, very
how's,
well.
How's fame treating you?
So far, it's not that different.
Well, once I put your video out, it'll all be changing. We'll hashtag your name here, there, and everywhere. I've heard that over the week, my friend has bought he'll be out there with a banner or something like that with your face on it. We'll make sure.
Wow,
We'll make you a star.
that's unusual for an insurance agent.
Oh, I know. I think you guys get a bad rep. What do you want with these tablets? What do you want? Are we signing away our
Just
lives?
your signatures, please.
What does this mean, that you don't take responsibility for our deaths?
This is essentially for the insurance policy.
Okay. Kara pick us up. Does it have other writing on it, or just space for the signature?
It has an enormous amount of legalese on it, but there's a summary which explains that, broadly speaking, if you end up being killed while in this race, or in any preliminary or main race, then, because that could be a significant inconvenience to the team, the insurance company will pay out to them an amount to cover their losses and make sure they can still race next year.
Well, I'm glad that our deaths will look after the team. I'm sure, as long as you send my dear old mum a letter, at least.
Sure. I mean, it's not in there, but I can try to remember.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Kara does indeed sign her tablet.
Okay. The others nod and sign. Kat says, "So, like, our families wouldn't get a payout or anything?" And he says, "No, the insurance is for the team, but the good news is they're paying the premium, you understand."
We get to ride for free, Kat. We get to ride for free. We can bring we can bring honor and glory to this team, and we don't have to pay a penny for it.
Not just that, you get freebies.
Ooh.
And he points to the shelf to one side, and he says, "There's your race suit. Help yourselves to one in your size. And there's a changing room back there if you don't have anywhere to change."
Wow, the world is my changing room, my friend. The world is my changing room. Kara grabs the suit and just shrugs off her jumpsuit there and then.
Okay, fair enough. The others sort of note that's what she's doing and do exactly the same, and grab their grab their suits and pull them on. These are like cat suits. They're body suits. They are very tight fitting, and obviously very, very light. The idea is to minimize weight and get the performance of the craft up to its highest possible. Um, Garboneth sort of looks at you and says, "Well, that's great. For your personal effects, there are lockers back there."
Oh, thank you very much. I quite like these. I quite like these suits. Seem like quite a nice fit. Do the men have equally tight fitting, right? This isn't like one of those where the women have tight fitting and the men have nice baggy outfits.
Everybody basically wears the same, though the
Uh,
men's ones are cut a bit differently.
uh, well, I guess these look good if you've got a complicated rear end. They work well. Maybe not for people with such a wide hatch, but you know, it's the elegance
What
of
a
the
callback.
latch, not the size of the hatch.
Must be more careful about how I describe things. Otherwise, everything will drip with mockery for the rest of the session.
Garboneth Whalen, before we go,
Mhm.
how are you on the history of the galactic working class? Have you had much dealing with them?
I work in insurance, so no.
Um, I've got an old tale. Can I share it with you, please? It'll only take about a minute. It's just a thought that's come to me. Wearing such a tight outfit, you see,
Of
and
course.
considering uh, how complicated rear ends can be, it just brought back to me an old tale.
Mhm.
Now, normally in my mind, I can picture a minute timer, but technology is different these days, and I don't know if I'll be able to. So maybe you can count along as I do it. Maybe count in your head and give me a 10-second warning or something like that. Could you do that for me, Garboneth? Wait.
I can do that.
Yeah, I spoke too much without breathing. Then I need to cough. Well, my dear Garboneth Whalen, it was a long time ago. How old are you, by the way, Garboneth Whalen?
I'm 40.
For a fine age. You look good for 40.
Thank you.
Oh, well, it's obviously it's all that fine living from selling insurance.
It doesn't wear you out as much as some professions, I think.
Well, unlike the galactic working class that have to fight claw and tooth and nail for their money, and years ago now, they have you ever heard of programmable backpacks at all?
Um, I think I've seen something like that.
So there was a while where they came across this posse of them came across a load of programmable backpacks, and they sold them to these one-way shuttle service workers. Not the best job in the world, to be honest. One way, you know, it asks a lot of questions about why they weren't coming back from where they were, and why you'd give them things if it was only a one-way trip. But they thought, you know, they'd send them out there with backpacks that they would sort of shine off advertising, you know, on their way to shout out the cause of the galactic working class. You know, rights for labourers. You know, money for fishermen, things like that. However, for um, the Aslan galactic working class, they gave backpacks to. They're programmed to all just announce complicated rear ends,
That's
which is
10 seconds.
very concerning. And the Aslan felt mocked by it, complicated rear ends, and they didn't mean it. Apparently, it was a typo, a very sad typo, and because of it, the Aslan that survived came back and mauled thousands of the galactic working class for making fun of their backsides, and it started a serious war. I'm surprised you haven't heard of this war.
It's a big galaxy. There's been a lot of wars.
Mm, it's it was called the Misconstrued Arse War. You know, it's canon.
But of course it is.
But anyway, with that, we're going to go dump our stuff and go.
CRAs.
We're going to go and prepare for the race. Thank you for your time.
Okay. By the time you've finished and set off out back into the dock area, the screens on the inside, which aren't showing, full motion video, they're showing time codes and positions, are finishing up and showing the conclusion of the first race. The winning team for the first race is VCI, and ISB have placed in 6th. The winning time just a fraction over 7 minutes.
Sorry, Ben, to jump in. Was VCI the winners last year? Were they the winners? Did they take the...
VCI were 7th last year out of 8.
Were they the shortest route last year? I've got a note of them doing something, but I haven't got a note of what they did.
VCI were 7th last year, and then with a team hired Fess.
Yeah, they're the Fess team. They did attempt the shortest route. But
yes. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it was IMP who did the shortest completed route, finishing 3rd.
Yeah.
And it was ISB, your team, that attempted the shortest route of the lot last time, but didn't finish.
Yeah.
That's why we like them. They take chances. Oh, look at that. Cat, did you see? Oh, Fess's team coming first. Are they doing it for the man, maybe? They're doing it in his honour. Warms the heart, right?
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited.
Hey, look at that time. How are you feeling? What do you think?
I mean, based on what I know, any time under 7 minutes is really fast on the prelim course. If they're doing close to 7 and their very first run with possibly an untried crew, I mean, I don't know what they had on board, that is impressive.
Well, they've set you a target. Did you get to vroom vroom in the control room?
Yeah, I did. And then they shooed me out because they need to use them as kind of tugs to bring the craft back in.
Well, how are you feeling about it? You feel confident with the controls?
Yeah, it's pretty simple actually. Compared to flying in sort of 3 dimensions, this seems easier.
Good. I'm feeling confident. This is good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this race. Before we go, Freya, and she sort of motions for Sammy and Kat to come alongside her. And he says, "You two, pull a pose like. Have you ever watched that old terror and flick Charlie's Angels?"
Excellent. Yes.
Right, cool. Right, you get on that side and point out that way. You kneel on that side, and I'll point to camera. Are you filming, Freya?
Filming.
Hi, this is Cara here. I'm here with my angels, and all I'm going to say is, teenage boys, this is your crew for ISB in the next race. So you know what to do. The posters will be available soon. Support ISB. They are the team that care about you and your private time. Cara Alaska out.
I like how now in retrospect I can see how Luke went to the discussion about the cat suits to straight to Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I get that now.
Now it's the journey is filled out.
I mean, to be fair, when I was a teenage boy, I'd have had that poster.
exactly right. I'm trying to sell ISB. I think I'm doing a good job.
Suddenly I support ISB. Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? Who'd have known? More likes on that video
So-
than she's ever had before. So.
Yes. This is the viral one.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So by the time the scores are in, you can already hear the noise of the smaller craft heading out from the various slipways to go and shepherd in the craft. And it's just minutes later that you see them return with the craft in tow, and they very gently turn them in the mouth of the slipway and back them gently up to the quayside. The emotions on the faces of the people getting out of the ISB craft are not quite so upbeat and excited as they were when they got in. They are clearly quite disappointed with their performance.
It's all right, guys. It's only the first. How many are there, Ben, in the morning?
There are effectively a set of 6 races in the morning.
Yep.
And then 6 races in the afternoon.
Okay. That's all right. It's just the first of 6. Were you trying new things out? I'm assuming you were tinkering with stuff, trying stuff. There's a lot more time.
New crew for the most part. New crew.
Well, they got 6th is all right. You beat some other teams there, and I'm sure the teams that were ahead of you were sort of trying out some of their main things. You know how it is. Some teams go out and push hard from the start. Others build as you go. It's all good. It's stuff something to build on, isn't it? Surely.
It's early days, as you say. It's just we were kind of hoping that nobody would be that quick out of the blocks.
Yeah, that just means they've got less improvement to do, you know. Whereas we're going to get closer and closer each time. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's going to be good. Go back to your, do whatever you need to do. Go check out what your is, all the data and that. We'll go out there. We'll do what we can do, and I'm sure you'll be back out, some of you, for race 3, and it's good. Early days. I'm excited. Come on, keep that. Turn that frown upside down. Come on, you. Come on.
Fair enough. And as you line up along the side, you can see another group of people start to assemble with you, all in their cat suits, a mixture of men and women, looking nervous and excited. There are a few crew in, again, liveried outfits, refueling the ship and making minor adjustments, and someone is running a high pressure nitrogen hose over the back to literally cool all of the components down to get them back to startup temperature, because obviously the turnaround on these preliminaries is really fast. You don't have a lot of time to wait for things to cool down. You can actually hear, as it cools, those little tink tink noises as metal shrinks and resorts itself. And within not very many minutes, you actually have the opportunity to take your turn. And as you're ready, you see Cassie run out, and she quickly sort of looks along the line, and she says, "Right, I'm going to run it this time. You're my crew. Those of you who haven't been aboard one of these before, which is most of you, if you don't know where you're sitting at this point, you're sitting at the back. Wherever you sit down, there'll be a set of controls. For this race, I don't want you to touch anything until you're told to touch it. I don't want you to change anything until you're told to change it. Am I clear?
Crystal.
Every seat has a numbered position. So if I need something done, I'll yell out, Number 4, adjust something, and you just wait until I call your number and then do what I tell you to do. We're not going to have that many flight changes in this because the race is really short, but until we get up to speed, I won't know what the exact conditions are like. However, we're going to play it a bit cautious with this run. We've got enough information from the first run that we're going to pre-configure to assume that the conditions will be roughly the same, and we're setting it up for that before we leave the dock. That's going to cost us a bit at the start because obviously the controls would ideally be in different positions for the acceleration phase, but it should mean we get a good, clear understanding of how the craft's performing in these kind of conditions over a short distance, hoping that the conditions are basically the same as they were 20 minutes ago. All clear?
Crystal clear.
Great. Let's go. Treat this one as just an experience, chance to find out what it's like and get yourselves acclimatized. And she nods to one of the engineers who cracks open the hatch, and she sprints over, drops nimbly down inside the craft like she's done it 1,000 times before, which she may well have done. And you can all shuffle forward and jump in behind her.
As they make their way in, Ben, can Agnar think to himself, I know Cara. I know what she wants. And can he start chanting ISB? He'll be like, I know,
Yes.
I can get this crowd going. ISB.
All right. Can you roll a persuade for me, please, with
Oh,
social?
Oh, they're just gonna like turn on him.
Sure, they may very well do.
Who's this old geezer? Well, this is the team of the youth.
Oh, that's a good roll though. That's 11
Oh,
plus
yes.
2 for social, but minus
Fantastic.
3 for persuade, so a 10 in total.
Well done,
You
mate.
are, to an extent, pushing against a bit of an open door because you're standing in front of the ISB hangar, and most of the people there, by no means all, but most of them are ISB fans.
Yeah.
When you start your chant, there's a fairly enthusiastic joining in, and it spreads widely enough that it can actually be quite loudly heard. And of course, people naturally, punch the air or clap in time with the chant. So it even provides a little bit of a visual response.
Nice.
And on board the craft, you feel that slight shift in the movement as you take your seat, and the craft is away from the dock. And then when the engine starts, it's not loud. It's almost completely silent inside, but the thrust is notable. And it begins to pull away. It takes a few minutes, and peering out through the sides of the craft, through the relatively small windows there, you can see other craft lining up. This time you're in lane 4, random drawing as it goes. And Cassie steers the craft over to lane 4. As you go, you do notice the ISB fan crowd behind the hangar does seem to be much more active than any of the others. There's a lot of movement and chanting. You can't actually hear it, but you can see what's going on. And right in the middle of it, there is some lunatic Aslan with an enormous banner above him projected in ISB purple and black, which says, "Go, Cara, go." across it.
Yeah, go. Woo-hoo.
You get out to the start line. If you're looking forward, you will note that Cassie's looking at a screen in front of her, which gives her exactly where her start position is, because there's no indication on the water. And there's a countdown in seconds. And you can see it ticking away and getting less than a minute and then less than 30 seconds. At 5 seconds, she calls out, "Hold on, everyone. and she guns the engine. And the acceleration is like nothing you've ever felt on a planet before. You might have experienced it in a fast accelerating spaceship, perhaps, but never on a planet's surface. It is a monstrous acceleration. It's like being kicked in the back when the seat comes at you and tries to hurt you. You feel the craft lift out of the water, and almost instantly there is no sensation of rocking or bouncing at all. You're not really connected significantly to the water's surface. You're flying above it with just one little strap at the back that's just digging into the water. And accordingly, there isn't really any undulation or sense of bobbing around on water. All there is this very strong sense of high speed vibration. A couple of seconds later, you feel the whole craft tilt slightly to the right as it begins its sweeping turn out onto the main course. And as it does so, you lose sight of the craft on each side because you're now looking at the water or the sky, basically. And then suddenly it rights itself and begins to go even faster. Aboard, there's no sense of breaking the sound barrier. You don't feel it happen. But you've seen another craft do it before, and you know it must have. Glancing forward, you can see the screen is recording the speed of the vessel, and it is rapidly climbing past 1,000 kilometers per hour. And as you set off on the lap, we'll call it for tonight.
Oh, that's good.
So close. It's very exciting.
It's a very thrilling episode. I
Mm.
enjoyed that a lot. It's a lot of thrill. I look forward to seeing how it goes. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
It's very visceral.
Really good fun.
Yeah, I thought so.
And nothing bad could possibly happen.
No, well, you've signed insurance.
So,
If you've got
certainly not to
insurance,
Agnar,
everything's
anyway.
fine.
Exactly. Insurance is always a totally kosher thing. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precise.
Fab. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Spinland. Thank you, John, if you're still here. Croy, if you're playing No Man's Sky or something and listening in. Thank you to always a pleasure. Anyone else? Yes.
Does Corey play No Man's Sky in VR?
Yes.
Is that part of Corey? Oh,
it's the only way to play it. That's the way I play it. It's
I'm
the
jealous.
only way to play it, mate. Honestly. Sweet. Oh, you need to.
sorry. Do go on.
Complicated Rear End is now canon, and now I need to make some kind of point spending or graphic for it. That's the problem. When something funny comes out, I have to put... Kara's Angels is going to be a poster for next week, obviously.
Right.
So work out what we can.
I'd normally say like t-shirt, but could we go like tracksuit bottoms with it printed? Across the back? Is that too much? I mean, it's no one's going to wear them. yeah. Like juicy, but
like juicy.
Same fun.
Oh, I like it. Big fan. That is beautiful. Right. Thank you, everyone. What are we doing? Well, I'm not doing anything. What are you guys doing tomorrow?
Well, we're going to run a Fighting Fantasy game book tomorrow. It is called Trial of Champions. And it is the 21st in the classic Fighting Fantasy Gamebook series.
And it will indeed be the Trial of Champions, Ben.
It will, because we will no doubt be unimaginably successful. Well, I feel, Crit, you may be doing us an accurate service there in stating that the game will be likely short. But to be fair, sometimes we've bumbled through all the way to the end and failed rather than dying quickly.
Yeah.
Last week.
I mean, it'll be.
No, last time was what's the classic phrase? Nasty, brutish, and short.
Yeah, sorry, Crit. It's all on me. I do apologise.
But yes, we will be doing that tomorrow evening. And thank you very much, of course, for joining us this evening. I hope you had some fun. And Luke, am I right in saying that on Monday we may have a gaming stream?
Medieval.
Yes, I'm back. So a couple of weeks I've not video gamed because of the new job and because of having to actually get up in the morning and actually leave the house. Oh man, how do people work? It's terrible, isn't it? Really, I enjoyed working from home. Poor old Ewan. But so I would start at 11:40. I used to start at 11:45, but I'm gonna bump it forward to 11 and run. I think and run sort of 11 till 12:15 or so, that, almost like an hour early kind of thing. So we'll do that. But it's gonna be more Kingdom Come Deliverance with Henry. Good old Henry. We love Henry.
Fantastic. I enjoy that game. I think that's quite fun.
The Cyberpunk Thursday. I'm never going to play it again on PlayStation, Ben. Now they've got it on PC because it's so much better on PC. Like honestly, a totally different game, better. So I don't know what I'm going to do for Thursday. I don't know whether to jump into the because I'm a bit further back on PC and I've got a female V because I've never played female V before. So the vibe's very different. Judy actually likes you, where she like is well grumpy about you as a male V. So I might have to change up Thursday.
Okay.
But we'll see how it goes.
Excellent.
But yeah, so we've got you two tomorrow and some medieval stuff on Monday.
Excellent.
I think
So
we should
next
run
thing, tomorrow
alternatives.
night, 11-ish, Fighting Fantasy Game Book, Trial of Champion.
Yep. Perfect.
Super. Thank you, guys. That was enormous fun. And thank you, everybody who watched live or on VOD and catch up. It's been enormous fun this evening, and I hope you enjoyed.
Yes. Take care, everyone. We love you lots, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.